In this game, winners win, and I only back winners. Trainer Kenny McPeak is a proven winner, and his horses are in my portfolio. And now they can be in yours too. McPeak's champion horses and Derby hopefuls are now featured on Morning Line. With Morning Line, I don't just watch the race. I own the moment. I invest in champions. This is my edge. Buy, sell, trade anytime. Morning Line. Own the game.
Hi everyone, David Aragona and Mike Beer here taking a look at the future race at Santa Anita on Saturday. It's Big Cap Day, the big race, race 10, the Grade 1 Santa Anita Handicap going the traditional classic distance, 1.25 miles on the dirt course. Mike, unfortunately, it's not the Big Cap of old. Some legends of the game have won this race going back decades, and I don't think there are any legends in this race. 7 were entered. At most, 6 will get to run because, as we'll talk about in just a minute, Skippy Longstocking was announced out of this race shortly after entries were taken. But I don't know, Mike. This race, the slot it's in on the calendar, it's got to compete against Pegasus World Cup, overseas races like the Saudi Cup and Dubai World Cup, and it's just hard for races like this to survive in today's game.
It's true. It feels like the older handicap division, especially if you're not running these races in the summer, you're in really, really big trouble trying to compete with either those overseas races early in the year or the Breeders' Cup late in the year. It's really unfortunate, as you've already pointed out. This used to be one of the best races every single year, and it seems like it gets a little bit weaker every single year that they draw it.
Let's throw up the field that we've got assembled for this year's Santa Anita Handicap. And as we said, Skippy Longstocking, he was scratched from this race, had an issue attempting to load onto a plane to fly here. So Safi Joseph is going to look for a spot closer to home than shipping to Southern California. So with him coming out, Mike, it really is just another big blow to this race, because based on his last race, Skippy Longstocking was clearly going to be the favorite in here. So with him out, I guess favoritism is going to be inherited by the number 3, Just the Touch, the other shipper coming in for this race. I mean, obviously he's got connections on his side going out for Brad Cox and a horse who previously was on the Derby trail. But the current version of Just the Touch, I don't know if any of the local contingent should be too scared of him coming in.
No, listen, I'm not going to argue with them shipping out to try this race, but he'd be an awfully tough horse to take a really short price on just based on the races that he's been running recently. He's just got way too many questions to answer, both in terms of form and of distance, David. And so, boy, as a heavy favorite in this race, I think it's only fair to go looking for some other horses in here.
And you also have to wonder what kind of trip he and everybody else is going to get in this race, Mike, because it's kind of an odd race to handicap from a pace standpoint. And we could take a look at the Timeform US pace projector as we discuss it, because everybody in the race kind of has the same running style. I mean, they all can go to the lead. They all kind of want to be close to the pace. I mean, I know that they're shown, sorted, about like first through sixth in here, about 3 or 4 lengths among them. But I mean, even the horse shown in last place, the number 6 British Isles, he's run some of his best races when he's up close to the pace. So it's going to be interesting to see how these horses sort themselves out on the front end.
I agree. It was the biggest challenge for me in this race too, just because, as you've already pointed out, most of these horses feel like they want to be forward. I mean, it's not confirmed that they have to be on the lead yet, but it seems like a lot of them do their best running up there. And it just feels like with the 2 and the 3 in this race, I know they don't have Just a Touch up there as part of the pace in here, but with Backward Torres and with Just a Touch in here, I just feel like this pace is going to be fast in this race. Personally, David, and we'll get to him when we get to start talking about the favorite in this race. But if I was Brad Cox, I'd be telling my rider, put this horse on the lead in this race.
Let's go through this field from the rail out, beginning with the number 1 Midnight Mammoth. And Mike, this horse is the longest shot on the morning line, and I certainly gave him a long look just given the way this field came up, because he's got plenty of speed figures in his past that put him right in the mix in here. He's run well going this distance in the past. He just barely lost the Gold Cup at Santa Anita going back to last May. He was a 12-1 shot that day. He was right there at the end with Skippy Longstocking, who would have been what, at most even money in this race. Yeah. Now, obviously, the form for Midnight Mammoth has been a little up and down since then, and more so down in 2 of the last 3 starts, but he was good off the layoff, going a distance that I thought would have been way too short for him at 7 furlongs 2 back. Just kind of have to reconcile with what happened last time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. He was really really bad last time when they stretched him out. But as you pointed out, he was good off the layoff. That was a nice performance, I thought. And I guess it could give you maybe a little bit of hope that before they ran in this race last year, they also ran him in the San Pasquale last year, and he was awful in that race, just like he was this year. And he came back and he ran a little bit better in the big cap, finishing fourth. So maybe we'll get a rebound here. He can get the distance. Like he can get the right trip in this race. He's probably going to be a fair price in here. I took a long look at this horse as well.
I will say, Mike, they were trying to come back in 15 days off that return, and maybe he ran a little too hard in that return for them to come back on that short rest. We'll see. I'm trying to pull something out because he's an interesting long shot, but you have to excuse the last race to like him. The number 2 getaway car also coming out of the San Pasquale. He ran a lot better, finished second in that race. Got to be honest, Mike, I never really thought of this as a horse that even wanted 1.1 miles, and I guess he kind of got it last time, but now they're trying to stretch him out to 1.25 miles. It's a little tough for me to wrap my mind around. I guess he's going to be forward in this race. Baffert does like to send his horses. I wonder if he's going to be able to take the necessary step forward at this distance.
I agree. I just don't really like more distance for this horse, and it just really he's 3-1 on the morning line. It's stretching out. He's just not for me. And here I understand what they tried to do last time, and I think maybe the race last time will force them to go back to using his speed in this race, because they did try to rate him last time. He set a really good trip right in behind the winner on the lead. He came up the rail to challenge him, and he was just no match through the stretch. And they'll probably go back to using his speed in here, but I don't trust him to get this far.
The morning line favorite in this race is the number 3, Just a Touch. And this is a horse who at one time showed a lot of promise. I mean, he was, only 11-1 in the 2024 Kentucky Derby. Obviously, he's had some stops and starts to his career since then. But, Mike, he came back in 2025, looked like he was going to be a major player in the handicap division with a couple of triple-digit buyers back-to-back. It has not worked out in 3 successive graded stakes attempts since then. And he came off a layoff last time at Fairgrounds and was pretty disappointing as an odds-on favorite. It's fair to say it was not an ideal trip because he was hung 3 to 4 wide around both turns in that race. Still, given the quality of the field, I thought he was supposed to win, and it's a slight step up in class here, shipping out to Southern California. I mean, I guess he's going to take money by default, but starting to wonder if we're ever going to see this horse put it all together.
I agree. And it's kind of surprising to me anyway, too, just because he was so good in those first 2 starts off the layoff last year that you really did feel like he was going to be a major player in those bigger races going forward. And he was bad in the Met Mile. I know it was a wet track and it was a pretty good field, but he did not run well that day. He was even worse at Monmouth in his next start. And then I didn't think that he ran that great off the layoff. I understand that he got an outside trip that day, but he got by the winner in the stretch of that race. And then he just couldn't put the race away. I don't know, man. I'm trying to still be a fan of this horse because I was a big fan of his early on, but he has totally lost me, and I don't like him at a short price stretching out to an even longer distance in here. I'm not arguing with the spot. This is a good spot to run this horse. And again, if I was Brad Cox, I know the Baffert horse to his inside has speed. I would just tell Ferran Giroux, put this horse on the lead. I don't care how fast you have to go. Get him to the lead and see if he can outstay these horses.
Doesn't it just feel like he's here, Mike, because they're looking at his resume, his pedigree, thinking we got to get a grade 1 for him to make a stallion out of him. This is the path of least resistance to get that grade 1. We've seen Cox try to do this before. It doesn't always work out. I felt like he was trying to do something similar with First Mission last year, and that Awesome Again didn't work out that day. I was actually looking up Brad Cox's stats shipping to Southern California because he does it, a few handful of horses every year. And I kind of filtered out the Breeders' Cup because I think it's a little different when you're shipping out for the Breeders' Cup versus other races. For non-Breeders' Cup races in Southern California, Brad Cox is 2 for 18 with a $1.24 ROI. So a lot of short prices in that sample that maybe have not run to expectations. The number 4, Vodka. He ran pretty well when they switched back to dirt after a series of turf races on Breeders' Cup weekend, October 31st of last year. Actually beat Westwood, who's going to take some money in this race, and did so pretty convincingly. That was going a mile, Mike. And I guess big concern with this horse is whether or not added distance really works for him, because kind of failed to finish in the Pinkai 2-back. He was facing a couple of talented Baffert runners that day. Got a win on turf last time, but I don't know if 1.25 miles on dirt is really what this horse is looking for.
No, I mean, the best thing you can say about this horse, David, is that Westwood I think is a contender in here. He beat him fair and square when they switched him to dirt 3 starts back. That was 1 mile. This is 1.25 miles. It's a totally different kind of game. But maybe he really is a dirt horse. His last 2 starts on the main track, they're both pretty good.
We'll skip over the number 5, Skippy Longstocking, and move on to the number 6, British Isles. And Mike, Similar story with this horse. Spent most of his career on the turf, switched over to the dirt two back in the native diver, was kind of dismissed by the bettors that day, going off at 16-1 in a 4-horse field. But I mean, he really gave the heavy favorite Nevada Beach all he could handle. We'll take a look at the replay of that stretch run. Westwood was also in that race. He traveled better than Westwood around the far turn, put that horse away, and really battles gamely when that 1-9 favorite Nevada Beach comes to him in upper stretch. So, Mike, off this second place finish, they had the confidence to ship out to Gulfstream Park, try a much tougher field in the Pegasus World Cup last time. And I don't think he was even disgraced in that race. I mean, he beat over half the field. He looked like he came off the bridle pretty early on the far turn, but kept staying on at the end. So to me, he didn't even run like a turf horse. He ran like a dirt horse, the way that he just kept finding to pressure at the end of the race. And he's got to get a mile on the quarter here, but he has a horse who once upon a time won going 1.5 miles on the turf. So I'm not that worried about stamina. I think he fits in here.
I do too. Yeah, I don't worry about distance with this horse at all. And I, like you, I like this native diver. I mean, I feel like if he runs his native diver back in this spot, he's going to be really, really tough. And, you know, I guess maybe the only concern that I had with him, and it's probably not even a concern considering the price that he's probably going to be in this race, because I think he's going to be a fair one, is that they did, you know, ship him all the way over to Gulfstream Park. And I'm with you. Like there was a point around the final turn of that race where I thought maybe he was going to finish last. He sort of just dropped out of the picture, and then he was running again late. So this horse, he ran really, really hard in that Pegasus in the World Cup last time. And so we'll see if that took anything out of this horse now that they ship him all the way back over here. But if it doesn't, I think this horse is going to be pretty tough in here.
And then the number 7, Westwood, who rounds out this field. He was the winner of the local prep for the San Pasquale. And Mike, maybe he's just the now horse in this race because he always had talent. Kind of was maybe pushed into some races that he wasn't quite ready for early on. Finally broke his maiden. He's kind of worked through allowance conditions. And we'll take a look at the last race when he earned a graded stakes victory in the San Pasquale. And they were pretty decisive. They sent him to the front end. It helped a little bit that it seemed like the plan was to rate getaway car. It allowed him to get to the lead. But I mean, he just kept finding on the front end. He always looked like he was going to win this race once he got to the top. And he is a horse that earned both career victories in gate to wire fashion. So I'm going to be interested to see if the plan is to be quite as aggressive here.
Yeah, I don't know if they can really afford to do. I guess we'll see what the 2 horses to his inside do, the Baffert horse and Just a Touch. I feel like they're going to sort of ensure a faster pace here. So maybe it works against Westwood, because I don't know that he's going to be able to rate and run like he's going to need to do in this race, perhaps. But I just sort of, like you were sort of alluding to, I think he's just sort of steadily progressed recently. Maybe he's the now horse at this stage of the game. And also, when I watch him run, there's a bunch of mile races on his card. I feel like longer distances are going to really work for this horse. I'm very interested to see how he does here, stretching all the way out for the first time.
I agree. I've got some overall questions about the quality of the San Pasquale, but between the two, I think Westwood is very much the one that is going to appreciate getting out in distance. Well, everybody, before we get to our picks for the big cap, this video is sponsored by Morning Line, and let's hear a word from that sponsor.
This video is sponsored by MorningLine.io, SEC-regulated marketplace where approved participants can trade licensed interest in racing's biggest stars. Be part of championship bloodlines. Just visit MorningLine.io. Buy, sell, trade, own the game.
Let's throw up our picks for this Santa Anita Handicap. And Mike, I think we both thought about the number 1 Midnight Mammoth. We've each got him in the second slot in our picks. I couldn't quite pull the trigger on him, but he's a horse that if he does drift up from that 8-1 morning line, I'm definitely going to think about putting a few bucks on him in this race. But for me, I just thought that British Isles really improved with the switch to dirt in the last couple of starts. And I think if he runs back to either of those 2 efforts, he's kind of the horse to beat in this race, and he's probably not going to be favored. So I put him on top, but I am a little scared of the horse that you have as your top pick, Westwood, because it seems like he might be the horse that's just in the best form at the moment.
Yeah, I'm scared of your horse too. I don't have him on top either, but I'm scared of that one too. And I did really think about Midnight Mammoth. There are just too many races that he's run where he's a total no-show. They don't bounce back. I don't know. I just don't know what to expect from that horse. Here's one thing I do know about this race. I don't like either of the 2 favorites on the morning line. And so that makes me want to take a little shot in this race. I'm going to take a shot with the 7.
7-1-3-6 for Mike and 6-1-7-3 for me in the big cap race 10 at Santa Anita on Saturday, the Santa Anita Handicap. Good luck if you're playing the races this weekend.